Going down, everybody. Welcome back to another special edition. This is Am I Still on the Air? And by now, I hope you realize what Am I Still on the Air is, and that's your spin-off episode. You know, this is where we get down and we talk about kind of one specific thing. You know, we talk about spoiler reviews, we talk about, the MCU, the DCEU, all that fun stuff. But today's going to be a little bit different. We're going to actually get real on today's episode. And I want to do something kind of special. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and I haven't really addressed it on the normal show. You know, we try to keep it light. We don't want to really talk politics and just everything that's going on in the world. But, sometimes there is a time and a place for it, and that's what I love having a spin-off version of the show for. And, we're doing this here on the YouTube channel as well with the video version for the second time. We've only done this one other time in video form, but, I love being able to do this and connect with people. And I got a very special guest here today. You hear him introduce the show every single week. My boy Sparrow is in the house. So what is up first and foremost, my friend?
I am great in yourself, sir.
Very, very good. I thank you for joining me tonight. We've had you on before. We've done some interview episodes and we've talked to you about movies and entertainment. Like I said, he's the voice of the intro song for Am I on the Air every single week. If you guys used to be fans of the old wrestling show Future Endeavors, he did the intro for that as well. A couple versions of the Am I on the Air theme song throughout the years, because we've been around now for 8 years, 9 years now at this point, man. That's how far back we go. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So time flies.
Wow.
It's been a minute, man. I should have had some vodka and Sprite over here, but man, Sparrow, you up in New York City, and just he's a busy man. And but I wanted to have him on the show here tonight. And like I said, with the world's in a crazy place right now. I mean, just a couple weeks ago, a video surfaced on the internet that ran for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, and we witnessed a man die on video with a police officer having his knee in the back of his neck. While he, said, I can't breathe, while he asked for his mama, while people on the street said, get off of him, he can't breathe. And what a troublesome video to watch. And of course he died. We're talking about George Floyd. And, and from that point on, the Black Lives Matter movement has kind of started again. And we've seen riots, and we've seen curfews, and we've seen all kinds of stuff. And, and everybody's saying enough is enough, right? Police brutality, it's got to stop. And I really wanted to have you on, Sparrow, as just, a good friend of the show, living in a big city like New York. And I'm sure you've seen police brutality in person. And, and this is something to where flat out, you're like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, I'm just a white dude, right? Like, I'm just a white dude that has never dealt with this in my life at all, so I have to live through, hearing these stories and seeing these things and being disgusted by it. And, and I really, really wanted you to come on, man, and kind of just have the opportunity to speak your mind, to talk about your view on things completely uncensored. Just where's your head at? Like, how do you feel about what is going down? How do we get better? How do we move forward? And just, I'm so curious to just sit and listen and just really hear your point of views of what's been going on over this past month in your world and just in your life in general. And just talk to me, my friend. Tell me where's your mind at?
Well, internally, it's really like scary right now to be an African American man right now. I mean, I guess it's always been, but I know specifically right now, it really is. I mean, when I go outside, my fiance tells me, like, don't go too far. You know what I mean? Like, and especially at night, if I need to take a call, she's like, oh, don't go too far. Try to stay in front of the building. But it is scary because I feel as if, and I've always felt as if right now cops have something to prove. And from what I've seen, like personally done, I've never experienced a problem with police. I've had small little asshole run-ins, but I've always been the asshole in the situation. So, but even when I was, they never like beat me up or nothing like that. I say never really had one because it was one time when I was leaving my house in Bed-Stuy, and they didn't think that I belonged where I lived because the area I lived in was kind of like, I guess, better than the rest of Bed-Stuy was.
Mhm.
And I was leaving my house, I was walking down the street, and they just stopped me and they checked me and they did a whole bunch of stuff, and they didn't have no reason to. But looking at situations like George Floyd or Eric Gardner, I knew that that could have went so much worse. You know what I mean? So I've never really had a hardcore run-in with police, but it is scary now because now I feel as if they have to put fear back into the African American community. So they're willing to do anything, um, even if that means your life, because right now with the protests, and I know you said that the Black Lives Matter movement started up again, and it was riots and things like that. And I don't think that you're putting them together, but I think we need to point out that there's a difference between those niggas out there that were rioting and then those people that was actually protesting for change. Um, and it definitely was a difference, and it wasn't from the same people. I think it came from within the same anger,
Right.
but um, they've at a point now where they're not even fearing the police. So it's a war outside. It's like they're showing that they're not scared of the cops. Our people showing we're not scared of police, and then they're giving us a reason to be scared. So one wrong move, and your ass is out of here. So that's really what I'm dealing with in my world with this whole situation. I mean, observing it. I'm not dealing with the person, but that's what I'm observing now. But I do think that we are in those times now what we read about in the textbook. You went to school, I went to school. We read about civil rights and Martin Luther King and Harriet Tubman. But then it was just a lesson. And even then, the world was kind of normal. Like people were still racist, and what's the dude? Amadou Louima got a plunger stuck in his ass. You know what I mean? So things were still going on, but it's not as accessible as it is now. Now you could get shot in Tennessee, and I could see it right here in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? So it's like really in front of us right now, and I just think that we are living in those times that we read about, like people protesting, standing up, and fighting for change. And I think everything that we do now is going to decide what part of history we're on, because we are in that. We right now it's just happening, but this is all going to be documented, and this is going to be put in our children's textbooks 20 years, 30 years from now. And when you read it back, who did what? Who do you want to be in that situation? So I think that's the era, the time that we live in now.
And do you think it's going to get worse or it's going to get better?
I've really prayed on. I pray that the little changes that they've been made is make it to be better. Like I hope and pray, but I really can't say because right now in Washington they turn Pennsylvania Avenue into Black Lives Matter Street, and that's cool and all, and it's great for pictures, but that doesn't say that the cops can't beat my ass up no more. You know what I mean? And then you got the corporate companies, and they saying Black Lives Matter, and they on the sign of Black Lives, but that don't stop the cop from putting his knee on my neck and killing me. Right. So to me, I won't really see change until it's hitting the Supreme Court. And I don't want to make nobody mad, but I feel like the gay community has gotten more protection from the government than the Black community. And the reason why I think that the gay community gets that protection is because that's a mixture of races. It's not that race is, you know what I mean? It's not targeted to one race. So I think with all of those races being together, they're able to make things happen more than somebody speaking. I just don't get it. Like why does the skin color matter?
Right.
I don't like. I mean, I get it because I know the history of this country, so I know how we got to this point.
Right.
But even when you learn the history of this country, it's like, really? Like when the Englishmen came over and they took the land, actually they came over to New York first and they took the land from the natives. They said God told them to do that.
Hmm.
That was their spew. That was their reason why they said it. God said that this land was free land. No, God said that this was going to be the land of the free. So they just wiped out all those Native Americans that was here, and it's like, I don't know. It's crazy that you have to really be crazy to think that your skin color matters for something. I know fucked up black people. I know fucked up white people. I know good black people. I know good white people. So
Right.
that doesn't mean like what the fuck? Like that's we at this point right now in history or in our time because of our skin color. Like what the fuck? I know the aliens is looking at us like, don't go down there.
Right. Right. They were on the way and they turned around and left. They were like,
What color is you? Gray, blue? Hell no.
no. Have you had to deal with? I know one of the biggest things is the controversy just around other ethnicities, saying, well, all lives matter and all that kind of stuff. Like, have you had to deal with any of that kind of pushback from anybody, like trying to
Oh,
take away from Black Lives Matter to point out other things that are going on?
I never have to do it personally, and I'm not trying to plug myself in, but that was one of the reasons why I started. One of the reasons why I started nWo show, because the gift and curse of this country is that there's free speech, and with free speech comes free media, and with free media comes free publication. So when you talk to somebody who says all lives matter, they actually have the right to say that. Like they can say that, and then you have to respect that. So now you find yourself trying to find common ground on an argument that doesn't need common ground. Nobody says Black lives is the only lives that matter. We're not saying that. It's like Michael Shea said, if a house is on fire and the firefighters come and he's putting out this fire, somebody gonna go and say, "What about my house?"
Right, right. It's funny you
So,
bring up the fire thing, because that was what I was just gonna say was the fire example, because I was just watching. You're a big wrestling fan like myself, and I just watched the whole breakdown of the New Day, talking about this whole thing, and that was one of the examples they used was like, if you think about it, you have the White House, then you have the Black House, and you got the Asian House, and it's like the Black House is on fire right now, and it's like, let me put this out first. Like we care about the other houses, but I need to stop the fire over here. And I really like that example. I think it really gets the message across of like, we're not saying the other houses don't matter. We're just saying that this house is on fire right now and I got to put it out. And I love that example, man, because honestly, like I remember like it's probably been a couple of years since the whole Black Lives Matter kind of idea kind of came out. And I'll be honest, when it first launched, I think I had that initial reaction of like, well, all lives matter, right? It's not about race, it's everybody. And when you start to get those ideas like the firehouse and you get different things and you really hear it break down, like it really opened my eyes and made me see like, oh yeah, I totally get it. Like we're not saying don't worry about that. We're just saying that this is where the problem's at right now and this is where we need to focus. So I totally get it 100% now. And that's where I think we need to stress with other people is,
yeah,
we're not saying all lives don't matter. We're just saying this is where the problem's at right now.
that's what I don't like. I can't, like, you asked me, do I get pushback? I wouldn't even argue with a person who says all lives matter, because I start to believe they're just saying it on purpose because it's so black and white, it's so obvious. It's like it's obvious. It's if 9/11 roll around And so they say never forget, and they have a protest that say no, all buildings matter, not just those two. Like, come on. So I just feel like they know that. Well. Now listen to you talking. You said that you even felt that way, and you needed to have your eye. You needed to come to some realization. Like, so I can hearing it from you, Don. I could believe that somebody could be, I guess, oblivious to the term, right?
Right.
But
Yeah, because
and this is
and just being honest again, like, I mean, coming from a white dude, like when I first heard that term, it did feel to me like, screw the rest of you, like just worry about us, like it's all about our lives, and it's like, yeah, that's important, but what about the rest of us? Like, like I get why people say all lives matter, because it is about, everybody's life really matters at the end of the day. But yes, it did take some eye opening, and hearing those points of views from different people explaining, kind of look at it this way, and it's like, oh, okay, like I totally get that, so I can,
I
I think it really
change it.
just
I think
depends
they
where
should.
you kind of come from on it.
I think they should have changed it to Black Lives Matter too, and that would have just ended all of that.
TOO. Make sure. Did you get a chance to watch the Dave Chappelle special, the 846 that he dropped?
No, I didn't get a chance to watch it. For me, and I think for a lot of people, I think people like Dave Chappelle fans watched it because they're Dave Chappelle. Like anything D.L. Hughley puts out, I'm watching.
Right.
He's my favorite. But I think for me, I'm just tired of, like, I live this. I don't need him to explain it to me. I know what he's talking about. He's not going to say nothing that we don't say in barbershops and stuff like that. So
Right.
it's nothing special for me.
Gotcha.
Did you get a chance to watch it?
I did, and it's hard hitting. I mean, it's really good, and it's short. I mean, it's only like 27 minutes long, and you can.
Where he shot that at?
It's on YouTube. I mean, you just watch it on YouTube. It's free.
No, but like, where did he shoot it at? Was it an audience?
He shot it. I don't know where he shot it. I mean, like Philadelphia or something. Like it. And he just shot it like June 6th or something like that. Like, and everybody's wearing masks in the crowd, and the chairs are all spread out, social distancing. So yeah, I mean, he obviously just wanted to speak on it. And so. But yeah, it's really, really good. I highly suggest everybody check that out.
I'll check it out.
But I see what you're saying though. Like, and once again, I mean, that's the example of like you being like, I live this. Like, I don't need to hear it every single day. Like the things he's gonna talk about, like but some of the things he talked about, like I didn't know, like, some of the things he brought up, and he gets into a couple other cases and different things like that kind of went back, like where people are just been oblivious to it, which was kind of cool to hear just a different angle on it. How the people you're surrounded with, I mean, you're kind of in the entertainment industry, you're surrounded by a lot of people, that are, rappers and just different things, different kinds of arts. And, how do you feel most of the African American community, like where's their head at as far as like around, in your world?
I think a lot of us has been so drained that they don't even care anymore, bro. Like it's so much commercial washing and media washing in the brain. Either something's going to change or it's not. It's funny because years ago when the country went into recession, a lot of black people didn't fucking know we was in recession because we was always broke. So our lives just went on like regular. And it's kind of like it's kind of the same now. Like it's like this is not new. George Floyd is not new. Everybody know George Floyd. Somebody got shot and they killed in their project. So it's like, my only problem is with all of the change that looks like it's happening. The small steps. You got people that say, well, what about black on black crime? Like, what about that? The people always talk, oh, what about black people kill themselves? And, and I just wanted to address that black on black crime is not a thing about a race. It's a thing of proximity. You kill within your proximity. Now, I'm not going to New Jersey to kill a motherfucker. I'm not doing that. If I had a problem with somebody and he lived up the block, that's who I'm going after. And it's white on white crime, it's Asian on Asian crime, Mexican on Mexican crime. It's all you kill within proximity. And one of my biggest things with the whole black on black crime argument is, if you say black on black crime justifies a police officer killing an innocent person, just period, no black person, just innocent person, that's equivalent, very much equivalent to the teacher beating up your daughter. And when you go see about it, the teacher say, well, she fight with the rest of the girls in the class anyway. So, that justifies why I do it, because you're put in position to protect and serve. If somebody is coming to kill me, I should be able to call you to protect me.
Yeah.
I shouldn't call you and I get shot and killed by you.
Right.
So the black on black crime argument really annoys me. And that comes from, I hear other races say it, but to hear my own people bring it up, it's like, are you serious? Like, when we are protesting police brutality, police were put in position because there is crime. So what do you mean? Yes, it's going to be black on black crime. It's going to be all types of race on race crimes, because that's just what it is, and that's why police are there. I should be worried that Jerome going to fucking shoot me. I shouldn't be worried that Officer Jerry going to shoot me.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a hard spot to be in. I mean, who wants to be a police officer in 2020, right? I mean, right now, I mean, they're going to have a hard time filling those recruitments, and it's sad, because I remember when I was a little boy growing up, like, and people were like, what are you going to be when you grow up? Like, I used to always say, I'm going to be a cop, like I was always like that go-to, like, I'm going to be a police officer. And there's no way in hell I'd ever want to do that job at this point,
You'd be a good cop, Don.
I would try.
Cop, you wouldn't probably even make the force because you're a good person.
Because yeah, I mean, some of the, I mean, I would hope it'd be better than in our day right now, social media. I mean, everybody's got a camera on them. I just don't see how, even if you are a racist cop, that how you could get away, or especially after this, like how you feel like you can get off. Like, I'm sure there's been a lot of blind eyes in the past, but at this point, like, the second that video hits social media at this point, like, that officer is arrested, they're being tried, whatever the case may be. So,
but I don't think we could settle for the arrest and stuff, because that happened before. People get arrested all the time and then they get off.
I felt like in the past it was more just like, oh, we terminated them, like they don't have a job anymore, and they called it good at that point, where now, they're arrested, they're being tried for murder, like, this dude ain't coming out, like,
Right.
I mean, but there's some crazy videos on there. I watched one, I don't know, maybe a week or two ago, of like of these kids getting tased, like in the car. Did you see that one with the kids in
yes.
the car? And then they're like, open the window, and they just start shooting tasers into the car for like no reason. Like, they're just like, we're just trying to go home, and it's like, calm down, man. Like, the force, the immediate force is what's weird. Is like why is everybody so trigger happy all of a sudden? Even with tasers, man. I mean, they're screwing people up, shocking them to death, like all crazy.
I have a response to that. I have a friend that's a cop, one of my best friends. He's like a best friend to me, and we had conversations. And from what I read from him, one, they have the quotas. The police department has quotas, and they'll cut department funding if enough arrests is not coming in. And where's the easiest place you can go to go get an arrest? The hood. and even a friend told me, and I'm probably gonna get some people mad at me, but we do fucked up shit too. We be doing shit that we ain't got no business doing. You drive by any neighborhood, people outside smoking, drinking, they do stuff to become a target. Now, should they lose their life from it? No. But they are doing things they have no business doing. And that's what the argument comes in when other people say, why y'all keep saying he was a good boy? He wasn't a good boy and he got killed. You know what I mean? And I kind of get it, because a lot of hood people, no race specifically, but if you're in the hood, you're doing something you have no business doing anyway. And if the police have a quota to meet, then they're going to drive down to your neighborhood and they're going to mess with you. But when it comes to like the use of force, what I'm learning, and I'm starting to learn from my friend, is that happens because of restlessness. Because the crime is actually down in the country, by large numbers. I don't know the numbers off head, but I do know that they're down by large numbers. So imagine you are a police officer. It's like being a basketball player. You want to play ball, you want to get on that court, but there ain't no games. So these police officers, they get $100 million put towards their weapons. Oh, I'm sorry, Don. Move. They get $100 million put towards their weapons and their armory and things like that, and they want to use their toys. Like, you just get bored. There's nothing happening. Nobody wants to take the cat out the tree for the old lady no more. So the hood is the place where you could use your toys. You could use your gun. You could use your training that you've been using. You can't, like where I live at now. I live downtown Brooklyn. They not doing that shit over here. It's too much money in this area for them to try that shit. But they'll go right into Bed-Stuy, right into Brownsville, and they want to show you what they know. And I do believe a lot of that over usage and over force comes from just restlessness. Like you need something to do.
Yeah. I want to ask you, since Am I on the Air is usually entertainment. We talk about movies and everything. What you kind of touched on this earlier about how it's obviously like a lot of the movie studios came out and said, "Oh, we support Black Lives Matter." Right? It's all about like all the entertainment things are coming out, and celebrities are coming out saying now's the time. Like we're gonna be responsible now. And all this stuff. It's like, does it mean anything at all to you? Like, or do you just feel like this is just the spin?
No, I see it in action. I really have to see it in action. It's about being on the right side of history, but I just have to see it in action. I'm so past people talking. Even our quote unquote Black leading voices, not leaders, but leading voices. Like, I was upset that George Floyd's situation happened in March. Did it happen in March or April?
No, it was May. It was May 25th.
That he died?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so it took a while for them to come out, and it took a while for the Black voices to come out and say something. And what I was fearing was that they weren't going to say anything, but in 5 years, you would have had the George Floyd documentary produced by Oprah Winfrey.
Right. Directed by Ava DuVernay.
Yeah. With Gayle King doing the after show special. And I see that a lot with our own people. Like, in the past, we would come in when it's over, and we will capitalize on it financially and put cool music behind it and things like that. Like, I was young when the Central Park 5 happened. I wasn't even born when Central Park 5 happened. So now I only can experience through that Netflix documentary. And that's manipulated media, because there's sad music playing. You got great actors going. That cop probably didn't do all of that shit they said, but it's for the dramatics. But I'm here now. I'm living this. I could see this. And I also could see the people that's not speaking up and that's not saying anything. But no, to answer your question, all the corporations in Hollywood coming out saying stuff about it don't mean anything to me. I think media plays a huge role in perception of communities and races. So we'll see what media is looking like, 6 months or a year from now. I want to see more. I want to see a diverse race in Hollywood. If you go down to the train station in New York, they have all these posters. It's white actor, lawyer, doctor, white, and then there's the sneaker campaign with a little boozy on it or something like that. So, I want to see change the narrative. We're not just thugs. We're not scary. We're not just threats. Asian people, they're not pussy, and they're not wimps and things like that. They're not just these wimpy geniuses and things like that. And white men, like, even for white men, like, this whole they're frail and they're not masculine and things like that. I don't want to see that either. Like, change the narrative, because that's where a lot of these things are coming from, honestly. In my opinion, a lot of the perception of people and races comes from what's taught in your house, and it's perpetrated by media. And they put the worst of us to the forefront. The top shows that include African Americans, Love and Hip Hop, um, the housewives, the Atlanta housewives, and all they doing is up there being ignorant and fighting. Power,
Power. I was just gonna say power.
drug dealing, stuff like that. They put the worst of us to the forefront. But you could watch any freaking touchstone picture, and Meryl Streep is some lovely, elegant white woman, and you know what I mean. So I think Hollywood and media is going to have to really change the narrative for me to actually believe that they 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 mean what they say right now.
What about them doing stuff like canceling Cops and like Live PD, like shows like that? Like, does that
That thing, yeah, I think so. I mean, you didn't have to see cops. You didn't have to cancel cops because ain't nothing but rednecks on there getting arrested anyway. So
right?
it was a mixture. It was black crackheads and rednecks.
Good old Billy Bob smoking his meth.
So I don't think, but I think that's a start. That the biggest thing that to me needs to be changed is the laws and media. Because right now, if they change the laws, you would still have a man that's in his 60s that's still racist, teaching his grandson racism and his kids racism, and the children need to see that for themselves. So when they turn on the TV, if they may not know any black people have black friends, and they turn on their TV and all they see is these thugs and shit on TV, they gonna believe what they racist grandfather say. So I think the laws and media are the two things that really need to change with all this. It's really why I stopped doing music too. Mm-hmm. One of the major reasons was I had started to learn so much about the industry, and at the same time, I was a teacher. Mm-hmm. And when I started teaching, it was just a job to me. It was really just a good paycheck. It was a city job. I got benefits. Mm-hmm. I didn't care so much. But then as I went through the years, a lot of the old students would come up to me and be like, "Hey, you remember that time you did such and such?" And now it meant nothing to me, Don, but this was everything to them. And I just started to realize I made an impression on these kids, and the things that I did, they grew with, and it helped mold them. And even, I probably ruined a few kids up in the beginning, but even like the stuff that I would say and the way I would insult people, they would use it with each other. And I'm like, yo, and I didn't realize that in the beginning, but as I got older and more into the city, I started to realize, oh shit, like they really listen to me. Mm-hmm. They really do what I say. So rapping wasn't the best thing for me, because there was a point there, especially when I was on tour, that I really started getting bigger and bigger. So I couldn't do the Clark Kent anymore. I couldn't be the rap at night and the teacher in the morning. Right. And they would come across a lot of my material, and when I started doing features with other artists, they were like, "Oh, this guy looked like you." And at one point, it wasn't a secret anymore, and I wasn't proud of how I was rapping, and knowing that these kids look up to me. Yeah. So I when it came down time to it, when I ultimately made that decision, I wanted to be on the right side of history. So I guess you could say I'm like a corporation too. Right.
You didn't sell out, you bought in.
Yeah. And I just wasn't proud. And then I started like my last tour and my last project, I went on a 30-leg tour, and I stopped it abruptly. But I started probably engaging in more like social behavior, I guess I want to say, extra activities, and then I started rapping about it. So it wasn't like when you met me, it was more like it wasn't contemporary. It was like alternative hip hop, like it was different subjects. But at that point in 2014, 2015, I really started rapping like about crazy stuff, and that was the stuff that was picking up. Like that was the music that got me brought into Def Jam and stuff. Mm-hmm. So when the kids would come on, they'd be like, "Yo, this is you? Like this? You said this?" Or "My mom heard this. My mom be listening to your YouTube channel." So it's like, nah, I couldn't do it. I wasn't proud of it.
Wow. Well, that's big of you, man. I mean, that's a hell of a story. I mean, to realize that and to know that you were making, you know, an effect on these kids, and then realizing like I don't want to be that guy. Like I don't want to be the guy that they learned, do this, do that, like from, and took any chance to send them down the wrong path. you know.
But
Uh,
one of the craziest things that happened in that time of making money, because I was on the fence with that for like a year. But I was at a meeting at a label, and I did this song called Down Syndrome. And at this time, I was just throwing shit to the wall, see if it sticks. And the label exec was like, yeah, we could, that could be a single. And we could get some people to come in, and we'll rent a yellow bus, and we'll have them act like they got Down syndrome and stuff like that. And
really?
yeah, and
I'm surprised that they would be saying
they was serious,
that.
so big on, like, I remember the, so you have the label executive, but then you have like the consultant that's like the bridge between the artist and the label. So the consultant used to call me all the time, like, ready to shoot the video? You ready to do this? You ready to do it? And I was just like, I work with special ed kids that would not fare well with the parents. And I've worked with special ed kids throughout years. So I don't want these parents to think that I'm making a mock out of their children. Like, so that really was one that hit the nail on the head. Like, I was like, nah, I can't do this. Because I won't be able to give my all.
Right.
So I just was like, nah.
I hear you on that. I mean, my wife is a special ed teacher, so as soon as you said Down syndrome, I'm like, oh, where are we going with this? Because I mean, the world's in a very different place. You got to watch what you say. You got to watch what you're talking about. And it blows my mind to think that a major label would be like, let's shoot this with the mini yellow bus and have kids, dance.
I mean, I don't know how much you are into hip hop, but they would do that stuff. Like, we don't think of it as much now, but you get a 16-year-old kid out there talking about he be shooting and killing people and selling drugs and stuff like that. That's fucked up to do. Yeah. And they would put money behind it. They would do it. So, I mean, I just had never been in that situation. I've always been an independent artist. And
right,
when I was coming up, I wasn't focused on a record deal. I was focused on outside endorsements, like clothing and stuff like that. So I was always able to do what I wanted to do musically. But when the music started really picking up and the label came in, I already knew from, my cousin is having from Mobb Deep. And, I just knew certain things. I knew that this is what they was going to want me to. I was going to be that guy. I was going to be that dude. And I just couldn't do it. Like, I don't even think I could sleep at night knowing that I was doing that type of stuff, knowing that. And when I told you earlier that I knew too much, I know what causes Down syndrome and stuff like that. So I can't mock it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not real. I can't mock that. That's not cool. It's not funny. So, yeah, I think I took the right choice, the right path.
I think you did too, man. I mean, props. I mean, to walk away from something like that could have changed your whole life, for the bigger, to just know, like, that's not me and I don't want to be that guy. Just phenomenal, so that's awesome. That's a really, really cool story. I want to get your input. Something that I've always wondered, and so going back to movies, at the Oscars for the past couple of years, right? There started to be the campaign, right? Oscars so white, stuff like that. Like, oh, how come there's no African American directors nominated, African American movies nominated? One thing I've always wondered is, like, a good movie is a good movie, right? Like I always felt like when they put such a spotlight on things like that it forces projects that probably don't belong to be in it just so they could say, look, Tyler Perry's here, and it's like, did Medea deserve a Best Picture nomination? I don't know. But, and I'm thinking, because it's a limited amount. I mean, you're only talking 5 actors, 5 actresses, anywhere from 5 to 9, pictures. If it's not the best of the best, like, I mean, I remember, I don't know if it was last year or the year before's, there were no nominations, I think, of any Black directors or Black pictures. And I think this was after the year, like, Moonlight won, right? So then there was that, and then the next year they were like, oh, we regressed again. But I remember thinking through that year and being like, I don't really know if anything really deserved to be in the top 10,
Yeah.
you know? So like, I'm curious on your opinion. Like, do you feel like it almost fakely force feeds nominations in to just for the Academy to say, look, we're inclusive
Yeah,
compared to, oh, it truly did deserve to be in there, like without it feeling forced. like, what,
at first I didn't really like Oscar So White because I just felt as if, as you just said, it will force feed nominations. But then I realized that once again, I'll bring it back to the media thing. It was important that they did, um, like everybody has their fight. So I have my fight here on this level, and Jada Pinkett have a fight in Hollywood, and
Mhm.
Colin Kaepernick has his fight in football. So everybody's doing the same thing. And at one point, I was like, that's not even important. This shit going on right now. But if things get better right now and then I go off to Hollywood and shit is fucked up, then I'll be trying to make a change there. So I think everybody have their roles at where they're at and stuff like that. But I think that something like Oscar So White needs to just have a more diverse staff, because there's movies like the movie with the guy was the fish and he was dating the girl.
Yeah,
The movie was,
Shape of Water.
yeah. I wouldn't give a fuck about no movie like that. And to me, that movie was corny, honestly. But because we come from different places, certain things will be of different interest to us. Like, and I don't mean this offensively or nothing. I just think white people can afford the ability to think so much outside the box. Like, they allow that freedom to where a lot of minority projects is like, we like to watch things that we can relate to right then, and it has to be like that. And that's why Tyler Perry's so successful, because we all have a Medea, a grandma in our family, and that ignorant shit that he be putting on. And then you got shows like Power, and we all know some big drug dealer. So our stuff is so right there. And then you'll hear people say, well, this was a good movie, it should have been nominated. And truthfully, that movie next to a freaking Meryl Streep movie is not a good movie. It's like, it's just relative to your life. But I think the Oscars need to just have a more diverse academy.
Yeah,
So that people can, for this movie really hit home with black folks this year. Like, we had Queen and Slim, or Sugar and Queen, some shit like that.
Yeah,
that was Queen and Slim. That was a good movie. It was another movie called The Hate You Give. Mm-hmm. That was a good movie. But we've just so many decades and decades of black art being ignored by the Academy. Nobody really thinks that it's going to be nominated. Mm-hmm. But it has been some good movies. To go to your point though, I do think the movies that they choose sometimes be off. Like, mm-hmm. Tyler Perry don't have no Academy Award worthy movie. Maybe Of the Family That Prays. That was a good fucking movie. I have to give him that on that. That was a good fucking movie. Other than that, I think Why Did I Get Married? But maybe Why Did I Get Married? But the movies that they choose is just pandering. It's just, right. We all know Tyler Perry. It's his movie. Let's nominate it.
And I'll go into, because obviously one of my favorite genres is the comic book, genre, right? Like, I love superhero movies. I'll even say like the year Black Panther got nominated, mm-hmm. for that picture. Like, I don't think that was the best Marvel movie that came out that year. That was the same year Infinity War came out, and you had everybody in that movie, including Black Panther. Like, that movie was a whole next level, and to me it was like, man, why did Infinity War get snubbed for Black Panther? And then it starts to become like, did they just throw Black Panther in here too once again?
I believe so.
Oh, we nominated a comic book movie, and look at the one we gave you guys.
Like, which they won? They won for costumes or some shit like that, right?
They did win for costuming, yeah.
But I definitely get it. I think the Oscars played it safe with that nomination because it was the biggest movie, right? And because of the perpetration by media, people were saying how great it was. I mean, I know for like my nephew, he's a little black boy.
Yeah.
He's never really seen a superhero movie like him, like that, like that.
Exactly.
So we was running on that momentum. It's like voting for Obama. Like, you know
Right.
what I mean? Just it was just because it was that nigga didn't have no qualifications like that. But it was just because he's black. So I think they played it safe with that
Mm-hmm.
one. But Girls Trip didn't get nominated, and that was a good movie. That Girls Trip is like, if Set It Off couldn't get nominated, then they could have nominated Girls Trip because
Right.
it spoke to everybody. It wasn't a black or white thing.
Yeah.
It's 4 women taking a trip, and it was really, really good. So I really think Girls Trip got snubbed by Black Panther because
Was that the
the
same
best
year?
superhero movies I've seen was the last Avengers movie. That shit. Oh my god! Like I laughed, I cried.
Mm-hmm. You talking about Endgame?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was just amazing, man. Like,
Yeah.
oh man,
I know. How that didn't get nominated, I have no idea. You're talking about a 3-hour epic, like you said, it took you through every emotion possible,
yeah,
that movie. I mean, I still, I think to this day and probably for the rest of my life, the whole everybody coming back through the portals at the
that
end,
shit.
just the greatest scene that'll ever be made, ever put to film. On your right, Falcon swooping through, you know,
Oh, you
T'Challa
that is not
coming through.
the
Come on.
ever. The greatest scene ever in movies. You probably never seen it, but it's a scene in Pirates of the Caribbean where Jack Sparrow was in a vault. Did you see that?
I did. I didn't care for the Pirates movie, so I'm
Oh,
a little
see,
fuzzy
that's like
on
being
that
biased, man. But he was in the and the vault was dragging through the street. It was just like so fire, like but that wasn't the best scene.
one.
It was another scene that was fire too. I can't even think. It was from a different movie. I can't remember what it was though.
Yeah. Speaking of the media, the one cool thing I know they did this month is, some of the movies we've been talking about, like are the movie studios are putting up for free this month to be able to stream. You mentioned The Hate You Give earlier, like that one you can stream for free. Selma, one of my favorite movies of the year, Just Mercy. You can watch that one for free right now. The one with Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx. Like that movie was fantastic. If the Oscars came out today, there's no way that thing did not sweep, everything. Best picture, best actor, best director. That movie's amazing. So, it's cool that some people can get to stream and watch these stories for free. I thought that was pretty cool of the movie studios to, take away a $20 price tag or a rental cost to say, hey, it's important right now to understand and see these things from different perspectives. I just got done binging Watchmen. HBO did Watchmen, did the TV version of it, and that whole thing was about racism. I had like no idea because it's
What the watch?
the Watchmen television show based on the graphic novel.
Yeah,
It's in the DC universe.
it's based on racism.
It is. It's crazy the detail they get into on it, but it's Regina King's in it. She's fantastic. But just they dive into a lot. Actually, HBO
Superhero movie Watchmen.
it's set in the same world. It's just this takes place years after the movie does, so it's kind of a different timeline, but you're seeing it down the road, and it's heavily dealing with racism. And because of that, I mean, HBO, we're actually recording this on Friday, June the 19th, which is Juneteenth, right? So HBO, for that, they're actually putting Watchmen up for free for the next 3 days for people to binge, because once it speaks to this, topic. So I would check out, Watchmen for sure. So that's the cool thing from the media on one side is that, them putting stuff up for free. I know Netflix has a category that you can just go into that's all Black entertainment, just movies about that kind of stuff, directed by, starring by, like just to kind of give people different insights and you know. So those are the things that I think are cool when they step up and do something kind of unique like that, especially when they remove a price tag and let you see stuff for free, because everybody's about that dollar, right? So, you know, that's very, very cool. I mean, that's what I liked about even the Dave Chappelle special. I mean, that, usually his specials are all on Netflix, so you got to have a Netflix subscription. They put this up on YouTube for free, so everybody can watch this thing, so those are the little things that I like. But kind of switching gears a little bit, kind of lighten up a little bit. I want to just have you just talk about so like I said, when we met, you were this aspiring rapper and you were coming up through the game like you talked about earlier, and you were making waves and Def Jam and all kinds of cool stuff, and then you stepped away and you started doing a lot of different projects, production companies, and now you mentioned nWo earlier. So take the time, and what have you been up to? What is going on? What is in your world? What are you dealing with on the daily right now?
So right now, just like everybody, well, are you in quarantine, Don?
Not really. I mean, we're pretty opened up right now. They did just make mask mandatory here in Arizona, starting tomorrow. So you have to wear a mask everywhere you go, unless you're eating at a restaurant, pretty much. Huh?
Eat inside a restaurant?
Yeah, they're all open for the most part. I mean, there's little mom and pop kind of shops that never, like, they still do takeout and delivery, but they're not open for dine-in. But all the chains are open up here, and you can go in, and pretty much everything's open except for the movie theater, and they're claiming they'll be open by July 15th. So, fingers crossed on that one. I'm trying to get back to the movies, man. I need to see Tenet.
Now I just I'm in school. I'm in summer classes now.
You still teaching? Or no?
Yeah. School is over. I said one more. It's like a couple of days next week, but I'm laxed on that one. And then I'm with my fiance. She works from home now too. Because I'm in New York, so we're still in phase one.
Oh.
So I just put my attention on the nWo news show. So it's like a parody of CNN. And I do speak of serious news, and I do have central topics that's serious, but we have different segments in the show, just like a late night show. It's really structured out like a late night show. I hope you catch it, man. I'm gonna send you one to watch.
Yes.
So we have the Ain't That a Bitch segment, which is current events, and it's just how ironic the news could be sometimes. So we say Ain't That a Bitch. Then we have our weatherman, Weather with Fries, and he's amazing. We have our the Real Nigga Hall of Fame.
I saw your Marcus post, and I like that he commented on it. That was awesome.
We have the Real Nigga Museum, and we opened it because we said we just want to preserve real niggas, because now with Tekashi 6ix9ine out snitching and being successful, we gonna be extinct soon, all of us. And when I say that word, I meant all of us, me, you. That's how I use the word. We have that, and it's just different segments throughout the weeks. Like, we have a bunch of new segments coming up. But the show really took a life of its own, man. Like, it's funny because the show was actually something I spoke with you about several years ago. And I told you I wanted to do a show, but I didn't really know yet what I wanted to do. And I started this show, I think May 19th. That's an inside of me and you. Okay. Well, I started this show May 19th, and I had 3,800 followers on Instagram. We are now June 19th, 2020, and I have, I think, 11.2 followers. And I've been going, I guess, viral with just news. Like, one of my posts have like 1,000 shares and 40,000 views, and it's sporadic too. It's like every week I got at least 2 videos going viral. So it really just took a life of its own, and what I don't want is people to get so attached to it, because I know me, and I will walk away from something. Just like, you put a shiny object in my face and I'm walking away. But I do see that there's nothing else like it. And I've been offered already. I got offered to work with Roku to bring the show to the Roku network.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, dude! Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
Um,
Every week
you gonna take
the
it? What you gonna do? You
I
gonna take
don't know because I'm actually working with a publicist from BET, and he's like being my right hand man, and he was saying right now it's so much stuff I didn't learn yet, so much people I didn't meet yet. Like that's like somebody just offering you the first thing and you're gonna jump on it.
Yeah.
And like just keep he said make mistakes first before you present this to them and then you're off after 3 episodes, you know. Um so uh right now I'm just trying to just the numbers are growing. That's what I was saying. The numbers are growing. Like I remember the first. This is a Facebook Live, YouTube Live show right now. And when I first went live, the first episode we did in total we did 800 views, but it was broken up between Facebook, YouTube, and a watch party on Facebook that I didn't even know I was streaming from. And then the following week, the show did 1,000 views. Then the following week it did 1,000.2. And then the following week it did 1.5, and now this week it did 1.8. So it's every week it's just been increasing in views, and that's live viewers. Like,
right.
So it's just
a good word of mouth.
Yeah. So I've been proud of it so far. It's probably something that I really, probably the most, other than being a teacher and a fiance, I think this has been something I could hang my hat on and be very proud about. And I didn't even know. Like, if you watch the show, and I want you to watch it, I'm going to send it to you. If you watch the show, I'm just talking how I talk with everything that I would say with my friends, I'm just saying it on the show now. Now it's public, and
that's the way to do it. That's how we do these shows, right? Sometimes it's just we're just, I always think the best conversations come when you're just having a conversation. Yeah. A lot of times when I meet up with the guys and we're just having dinner, we're at Hooters having some wings, and then it's like, man, I wish I had a microphone just sitting in the middle of the table, because that would have been a bomb ass episode, like, because that's all we're talking about is movies and, oh, did you see this and all that, I'm like, oh man, I wish I could have recorded this.
That would be dope if you ever had the time, and I don't want to rattle you, but you could have a show where it's like, if the setup is like man versus food, where y'all at a table eating wings and shit, and y'all just talking, like, that would be fucking fire, man.
Yeah,
I would watch that.
Yeah. No, my mind's always been there. It's just, I gotta invest in that little portable podcast machine that you could just bring with yourselves and sit
How
down.
much is that?
I don't know, man. That kind of one that I'm thinking of, I think is pretty expensive. Like I believe that? So I was like, it was like $500 or $600, something like that.
Get that.
I don't know, man. Roku hasn't called me yet, so I don't know.
It was so funny though, because I didn't even have a show yet. They called me off. I sponsored the flyer on Instagram, and it was like Roku UK, and they was hitting me up, and I just ignored it because I've done this before and fucked my life up with Empire.
Right. I remember.
About that, right?
Yep.
And then some lady hit me up, and then I went to her bio, and she was like assistant something Roku, and she had like the Roku company. And then I went to the Roku page, and she was one of the people they were following. So okay, so this is legit. So she hit me up about it, said that they starting their own network, and they just want to bring like small shows, and they know what they're doing. She said they want to help me build, but she knows that people would definitely tune in if Am on the Air is on there. I'm tuning in. I'm proud of you, dude. And you get 50,000 other people that's proud of me. They have a hit right there. They have success. So that's how it happened, and we've been talking. And where we at right now is me changing the advertisement of my show, the marketing of it, because it looks like CNN and things like that. And the PR I'm working with is like, don't do that right now. Like, if they want you and they don't even have content, but now it's content out. But when they first reached out to me, there was no even content. It was just all the marketing. And he was like continue to just do it and make mistakes, and because if I do sound Roku, I have to change the whole marketing plan of it.
Right.
and it hasn't even reached enough people. I only got like 10,000 followers.
So when does it air? Tell everybody, like, where can we catch the weekly show?
The
You said
weekly show
Facebook, you said
on
YouTube. So what
Facebook,
where at?
Instagram, um, YouTube, uh, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, /nWo Sparrow. All of it, nWo Sparrow. Sparrow. I wanted to ask you something though, Don. Like, you live in Phoenix, Arizona, right?
Tucson, Arizona.
Oh, Tucson, Arizona. Um, like, are you around like racist people? Like, do you hear it?
No,
Really?
no, I never come across it.
It just seems like a Trump state to me. I don't know.
No, man, no. I mean, I'm glad. I mean, but yeah, even when everybody was losing their minds a couple of weeks ago. I mean, we had some little stuff like downtown, but everything for the most part was pretty just cordial and peaceful, and we weren't having our Targets and Walmarts broken into. It was all
So
pretty.
what makes you the way you are? Like, what was your upbringing like? Was you around diverse people?
Um, I think so. I mean, I think it all stems from the way you're brought up, your parents. Like, my parents never told me like don't play with anybody that's not your skin color or anything, man. I always throughout my whole life had black friends, and it never mattered to me. I mean, if I clicked with somebody, I clicked with somebody. I mean, it was never, I guess, I don't know, my mind never really rolled to like that was a bad thing or anything like that. And I never really, for the most part, ever really came across that from anybody. I don't really recall growing up and either a friend or a colleague or anybody be outright disrespectful. I mean, you would hear maybe an N-word here or there, but that was usually like somebody singing a song or something.
Yeah.
Like, it was never intentional to be like, oh, I'm calling somebody a name. um but yeah, I mean, I lucked out, I guess. And it just, and
I just feel like
no.
people have a lot they could learn from you. You just seem so special. It's like you have a gift, and like even when you was with Future Endeavor, it's like you always had like this openness to you, and you don't have to have it. Like, dude, you're white. Like, I'll trade our skin color quick. And and I just wish like people were like you. Like, you are my go-to white guy when I talk
Thank you.
cool and stuff like that. You and this other dude named Cody Smith um had me in his house, like, and it's just like, so I know that this world could be this way.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that blockage there? What is it with people that like, I don't like you because you're black? Like, what?
Yeah.
Well, I don't like you because you're white. Like, huh? I really I can't wrap my head around it. It don't make sense to me.
No. It doesn't. And I think a lot of it in the world just goes to something you mentioned before, which is just the portrayal, right? Like most I'd say most white people, that's all they know is what they're watching on TV, right? That's all they
Yeah.
know is from the movies. And unfortunately, that's how the black people are portrayed, right? It's the dude getting on parole. It's the dude coming out of prison. It's the guy selling drugs on the corner. Like, it's, I watched Black and Blue, like a couple months ago, that movie Black and Blue with the police officer that basically running for her life, and Tyrese has to come help her, but like just the way it's portrayed, like, oh, I went in the bad neighborhood and it's just all the gangbangers and just all this stuff. And I think that's what scares a lot of people, is like, because that's all they're exposed to, and they're just like, I don't want to be around that, like, like, that's not my thing. And unfortunately, that's Hollywood. That's not real life. For the most part. I mean, there's always going to be sections of it that's true around the world, but I mean,
A little bit on, because it. I want to challenge you because it it's not everybody in real life, because some of that shit is true. Like,
right,
our life,
right,
you go up, you see a nigga selling drugs, stuff like that, but that's not the best of us. That's not the only of us. It's
Mhm.
it's college educated people, people that's doctors, lawyers. We're not a threat. We won't mess with you just because you're walking down the street. Like, what the fuck? Like, no. I'm just so fortunate that I could know you and I could have this type of dialogue with you, dog. Because the world is crazy, man. I think this has got to be hell.
Mm.
This has to be hell because hell can't be no more worse than this. So this has to be it.
Yeah. No, man, and I appreciate you coming on. I mean, like honestly, like I said, like for me, I I don't like to get into this stuff. Like, I mean, even on like social media, I mean, we're friends on Facebook, stuff like that. Like, I don't talk about this shit, like, because it just for me, like, no matter really what I say, like, somebody's gonna come out of the woodwork and be like, "You're wrong," you know. Like we're just in that world right now where like I'm damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? So it's like I almost just shut the fuck up and I don't say nothing, like just to avoid any issues, you know. But you know, it's important to me having a forum like this and having a show that I do weekly and I have listeners and a fan base and I'm sure probably some people have thought over the past couple of weeks like, man, how's he not really addressed this or how's he not really talked about this? And like I said, the normal show,
It
that's
thought you
not
was
the time and place for it. That's not the time and place for it. But like something like this where we can just dedicate some time and really just, you know, have you on and just kind of speak from that realism kind of world. And you know, like I said, like I don't feel like my voice needs to be heard in this matter. Like this isn't about me. Like, you know, like I said, I'm not suffering. I'm not dealing with this stuff. So to me, all I wanted was an opportunity to let you come on and just give you the floor and use this podium, use this forum to just voice whatever was on your mind, you know. And I just wanted to listen. I just want to listen, you know. I mean, you know, like it means a lot to me to just hear different people's opinions and where different people are coming from. You know, I love that New Day episode, man. I just watched it. They put the whole thing up on YouTube. It was like an hour and like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Man, like Big E almost had me crying in like the first 4 minutes of the episode, you know, like because he just lost it, you know, and just seeing the impact on people. I mean, it's been crazy, you know, and it's about, you know, right now it's about empathy, right? Like, you know, and it's just about feeling for others, understanding what others are going through, and just trying to be better. At the end of the day, we just need to be better. And that's really all
Yeah.
it comes down to.
That's the best way. I don't think I can say it any more perfect, man. Like you, yeah, you're so cool, man. I swear to God. What do you think about Jim Cornette?
Oh God. Not just Jim Cornette, man. Like every wrestler's getting thrown under the bus right now for some crazy shit. There's gonna be a lot of
I
suspensions and
Jim
firings
Cornette.
coming.
I can see Jim Cornette. You know why I love Jim Cornette? Because he's a piece of shit, but he knows he's a piece of shit.
True, true.
He owns it. Um, that one took me for a swing. They're like, you gonna people fuck your wife? Like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, that's
But
funny.
would anybody say Matt Riddle is innocent? I love Matt Riddle. I just love Matt Riddle. He's so dope. Like,
I'm just glad that they showed his debut on SmackDown tonight because I started reading something saying like that was going to be taken out. They were going to just not, you know, they were going to hold off. Like, and that's the thing too. I'm kind of tired of this of the world we're in right now, where you're guilty before proven innocent, rather than
yeah,
innocent until proven guilty. You know, it's like the second, like honestly, like I can go on Twitter right now and say you grabbed my ass, and everybody's like, oh, I can't believe Sparrow grabbed his ass, like that, you know, like you didn't look into anything. I tweeted, like, you know, like check your facts first before people are condemned and lose their careers and lose their lives like over, you know, over
I
this
think that
stuff.
we had a weird point with that because like somebody checked me the other day. Some girl checked me. I think I put up it was a battle rapper named Mav Hoffa, and he just got accused of rape. And I put it up, and then she was like, when I put it up, the caption was, "Do you think he did this, or is she lying?" And the girl checked me like, "How can you say that? This is why women don't come out because there's always this increment that they're lying." And then I really had to reflect, like, yo, she's right. Like, you if you say something, we're questioning your integrity, you know. And if you don't say anything, we say, well, why you ain't say nothing?
Right.
It. I don't know. Like it's my professor told me the most dangerous thing to be is an upper grade teacher because I was trying to change my job and go to high school. I'm in elementary now. And he said the most dangerous thing to be is upper grade teacher because you get hit with threats of, I'm going to say you tried to touch me all the time with adults. And I was like, really? Like, students do they like they grown women.
Mm-hmm.
They get anything less than what they want, they're going to go to the office and say you did something to them. Now, at first I was like, this motherfucker probably did something and he just trying to cover his ass. But then I'm thinking about it like, yeah, they would do that shit. Like, if you can do it and it's going to help you pass, then do that shit. So when the allegations came out against Matt Riddle, that shit broke my heart because I was like, no, like, he's so fucking dope. Like, I could see him main eventing, headlining, ending the show. So I'm happy they didn't take him off of SmackDown.
Yeah.
I believe Jim Cornette did that shit.
There's just some people you just believe.
Yeah. And who else was it?
Oh man, there's a couple of the NXT UK guys, and then a couple people from AEW.
Good. Them AEW niggas did.
Yeah, because they released Jack Gallagher today.
What?
Yeah.
Because of
allegations. And then Jordan Devlin, who was the last cruiserweight champ, and then COVID hit and he got stuck overseas in Ireland. He's in the news for it, like, so they don't know what they're going to do with him yet. I mean, WWE had to issue a statement talking about like what they're going to do and how they're going to investigate, and if they're charged, they get suspended. If they get convicted, they get fired. Like this whole big thing they came out with today. It's nuts.
So why is Jack Gallagher going?
It's the same thing. An allegation that he did something he shouldn't have done.
Oh, but like
several years ago.
Suspended.
Huh? Yeah. I don't know. It said in the WWE press release, like, these are the terms, but at the bottom it was kind of like, but if we see fit to let you go, we're gonna let you go. and that was just what they did with Jack. Like, but like Matt Riddle, like, he's got a lawyer already on it. Like, there's things cooking on the back end there, so you know he's kind of being protected. And then, you know, who knows about the other guys? There's just a lot going on. I saw it all blow up on Twitter last night. I think it was hashtag speaking out was what it was. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's crazy, man. You know,
crazy.
2020 is a hell of a year, dude.
And don't about Randy Orton. I know he didn't harass him.
I know nobody's mentioned Randy yet. If this was I don't know what in the early 2000s, it'd be a different story for sure.
Man. What do you think about AJ Styles not speaking on the social issues?
I think it's what I said earlier, right? It's once again, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I think, you know, he's a Southern white boy. And I think just, you know, he's going to come at it a certain way. And I think people are going to misconstrue his words. And next thing you know, he's labeled a racist and his career's over. Like, and I don't think you can really risk that stuff, you know? It's one of those things that, you know, like when all this stuff was going down, I was like, I want to say something, but then it's like, again, it's like somebody's going to come out. I was watching it like on Facebook between friends being like, oh, how could you think this? And then the next comment, somebody going, yeah, you're right. You know, like, and it's like, so some people like what you say. Some people hate what you say. Like the one thing I threw up was a Superman quote. And it just basically was just like, there's a right and a wrong in this world, and you should be smart enough to know what's what, you know, like, and that to me spoke volumes. It was just like, that's all I need to say. All right. There's a right and wrong in this world, and you should just know which one's what. and I just left it at that. That's what I put on Instagram and Facebook, and just left my Superman quote, because that to me explained, you know, where we were at.
Somebody said to me some time ago, what do you want? What do you want to happen? I like, ultimately, we just want justice to be served. If you shoot somebody who's not threatening you and you kill them, you should go to jail. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Like, fuck that. Fuck the Black Lives Matter streets and all of the corporations with me. Just send these motherfuckers to jail. They did something wrong. Because if it was reversed, if it was George Floyd's knee on the cop's neck, he would be in jail like that.
Oh yeah.
So right and right is wrong is wrong. Like you right. It spoke volumes. It's right in this world. It's wrong. You should be smart enough to know what it is.
Brilliant. Well, hey, dude, I appreciate you coming on, brother, as always. Thanks for always supporting the show and just doing your thing and keeping in contact. I mean, even just remembering little old Don. Huh?
You never answer my text back when I'll be like, Merry Christmas or Happy Thanksgiving.
This dude, like, I'll get a happy birthday, like, Merry Christmas. Like, I'm like, man, Sparrow remembered me. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, like,
it one of the few, man. You really one of the few that I've met so many people from when I started music to where I'm at now. My boat cleared up so much. Like, oh man. And you one of the few people. And I always like, more than anything, I'm a fan of yours. So I want to make that clear. I'm a fan of your work. I love your movie review. I love him on the air. I met you with Future Endeavors, and I miss that all the time. Like, I just hear you and Nick getting into it. That was what a Sunday night was supposed to be, man.
Right. Sunday
night
prime time.
I could clean up my room, and while y'all going at it, I'm going at it with y'all in my head. Like, that person sucks. What are you talking about? That was such a freaking good show.
Yeah.
And Corey agreed with everything Nick said because he didn't want to make it. He didn't war.
Yeah. No, good times though, man. But yeah, I mean that's what was so cool was, you being a fan of the show and then, being cool enough to make that theme song. And then when we created Am I on the Air and then making that theme song and then, for when, the show was me and Nick, for so long. And then, I've been doing this show solo now for 6 years now at this point, almost 7, and then you had to make that new theme song for me because it wasn't Nick and Don anymore. And we had to spruce it up, and I wish I can get a new joint from you for 2020, but
I don't even think I can rap them. Every time I try to rap, it's like that old car that don't start. Like
you can do it. It's like riding a bike, man. It's like riding a bike. As soon as they drop that beat, you'd be able to go. Come on, I have no doubt.
I can't even say the stuff I used to say. I used to say, I'm drinking and I'm smoking. No, I don't do that shit now. No. I'm in bed at 9 o'clock now.
Yeah, but see, that's why a theme song's perfect, because all you're rapping about is TV and movie shows. And Don hosting Am I on the Air?
Everybody that's listening to this right now, I just want to say this. This is totally unrelated, but since this is a media platform, Will and Grace is the best show on television, or was the best show on television. You wouldn't have a Modern Family. You wouldn't have none of these characters if you did not have Will and Grace. And for all the people that told me, oh, Modern Family, oh, that was a better show than Will. Let me tell you something, and I just learned this last night. When Modern Family went off the air this year, their average household rating was a 4.0. It was a 4.0. I mean, in this time of streaming and stuff like that, and you could go and watch it later, 4.0 was high. Will and Grace average for this reboot was a 4.1 average on a weekly. So they were just, now that's coming from when they used to do 17.2 and 12 something. But now your top show was Modern Family, and it was top for doing a 4.0. Will and Grace came in and did a 4.1. So Will and Grace is the best show on television, no matter what Don tells you.
I'm a Modern Family fan, and I'm going to say Modern Family is way better.
But one of the things that I had to do this yesterday because I was arguing about the show, and they was like, well, Big Bang Theory and stuff like that. So I went to look at the ratings. And the Big Bang Theory average rating is like a 7.2. That would have got canceled in the 90s.
Yeah. Well, because we're in a whole different landscape now. You know that. Like
that was my argument, because a 7.2 against Everybody Loves Raymond, Friends, Frasier, that shit would have got canceled. But now, because we have DVR and we have Hulu and we could watch it later and all that, we could binge it. So a lot of ratings are dropping, and that's for you wrestling fans too. That say, "Oh, WWE going off the air because they did a 3 point something. They did 3 point something live,
Right,
but they
exactly.
still back value."
Yep, yep. No, it's true. I mean, I don't watch anything live. I mean, I DVR. I watch on Hulu the next day. You know, um, that a lot of that stuff's on the WWE Network, different things like that. So, yeah, the live score is nothing this day and age. They don't really. What they're looking at is after they count in the DVR plays and the streaming plays and all that stuff. That's why they don't even really do true ratings until like a week later. Because they
Mm-hmm.
give everybody like 7 days to catch up. Because there's a lot that's pending there and people can't catch up until the weekend and stuff like that. Like you said, the live day back in the day, yeah, they wanted those big ratings. Now a show can get by on a 1.5, because it just depends. Look at all the CW shows. They all
Oh
barely
my!
do 1.5 or so, 1.7.
Why is this chick leaving Catwoman? I mean Batwoman.
My theory on that is just that she was not a mainstream actress. She's not a lead actress. She was, if you look at her filmography, she's always been a side character. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, I think it really was the hours and the schedule. And it just, with her being a lead, she's on set 13, 14, 15 hours a day in Toronto, Canada, and it's just like, I'm not made for this. She did the whole first season and was like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
And I just think truly she was used to doing TV shows where she was only on a couple episodes and she was able to film it in a couple weeks and bounce and be done. I mean, look at all the movies she's been in. She's just been side characters. This was her first leading role, and I think it took its toll on her.
And
And
she,
she was
oh,
like, I
that's
can't
not
do that shit
good.
no more.
Other studios gonna look at that. That's not gonna be good. I didn't really like her in the first couple of episodes, but because I like the story, I got into her character.
Yeah.
Um, I think I started liking her when she met that girl that when she was met in lesbian. She a lesbian.
Yeah.
So when she met that girl, I think that's when I was like, oh, this is a good story. Like when she found out she was freaking Batman's niece, she was like, oh, I'm Batman's niece. Like, what? You're Batman's niece. What is wrong with you?
Yeah. My beef with it now is that, originally when she left, they said they were going to just recast. And now they're saying it's going to be a whole new character. It's going to be a totally different Batwoman in season 2. And I'm like, what? I was like, just recast it.
What,
Like, why would you change the whole character? Because now it's not Batwoman.
Wait, stop. It's not going to be Batwoman on a Batwoman show?
Well, this new character will be Batwoman, but it's not the same Kate Kane character that Ruby Rose played. When she first left the show, they said, we're going to just bring in another actress and she's going to play the same character, right? And we'll just roll with it. Like, she just looks different, right? Like Val Kilmer stepping in for Michael Keaton, right? It's the same Batman, right? But then, like, a couple weeks ago, they came out and they said, actually, we're pivoting. We're not going to do that. We're going to bring in this new character, and I forget the name of it, but it's like, oh, she's this new rebel chick who just moves to town and she takes up the mantle and becomes Batwoman, so it's going to still be Batwoman, but I don't know if they're going to time jump, and go 5 years later and now Kate's missing from Gotham City, so she has to put on the cowl. I don't know, but it's dumb. They should have just recasted it and just moved forward with her being the same character, because now they don't have that connection with her in the other shows. That's what's cool is the other shows now. She's been around for 2 crossovers that now they don't have that connection anymore. She was friends with Supergirl. She was friends with all the rest of the team, and now it's a new chick. So they got to start all over again. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Kate Kane is Batwoman, not
And
Alex
if they
Rider or whoever the hell they bring in.
if they time jump, Supergirl gonna be the same person?
Yeah, because I think they're just going to time jump on the Batwoman side. I don't think they're going to.
If she got an age? I'm thinking too much into it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the CW. None of them age at all.
All right, man.
Cool, cool, man. Well, hey, tell the people where they can find you, man. Where can we find you on all the socials?
Well, you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, nWo Sparrow. The nWo show, the best news since Larry King, airs Tuesdays, 7 p.m. on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, and it's replayed the same day. So as soon as it wraps up, it goes straight to Facebook Live and it goes straight to YouTube regular page.
There you go. So make sure you guys follow, support, check it out. That's going to be pretty damn awesome. I can't wait to see it grow, man. Keep me posted on the Roku story.
Yes.
And anybody else that comes streaming along, maybe Amazon will want to swoop in soon and get some streaming wars going over there. But hey, I really, really do appreciate you jumping on with me, man, and just kind of, catching up and really just talking about these, matters and just, just showing once again that we can all get along. We can all get along, So why can't the rest of y'all? Come on,
All right. Thank you, man.
But so hey, make sure you follow the show at Am I on the Air on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at DXDonMega, and of course amiontheair.com, and on all your favorite social medias, and of course wherever podcasts are: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Stitcher, TuneIn, Podchaser. We're all over the interwebs, as well as youtube.com/Am I on the Air. So thanks again for us. We're signing off. We'll catch you next time, y'all. Peace.
All right.